Well, welcome back everybody to Sawyer Paddles and Oars Live once again. Another beautiful August day. We're dropped down out of the hundreds here in Southern Oregon, so we're pretty happy about that, but still extremely hot, and so we're definitely planning on getting a lot of river time in as much as possible. And also the folks that we're going to be talking with today is we're going to be talking with Mike and Jim from Willie Boats, and they definitely are all about getting on the water and multiple crafts, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through our discussion today. And this is live, so if you have any questions, definitely fire them into the comments, and we'll make sure we address those. And if we don't, we'll follow up with you afterwards. I'm going to throw it over to Jim, and go ahead and just give us an intro, guys, and we'll kick it off.
I'm Jim Biddle, Willie Boats CEO. Been with Willie Boats since 1984. Started with Willie, got to know the relationship really well with Ralph, Sawyer, and Willie, and it was good. It was good to see two old timers in business have such a relationship and work as well as they did. We had when Willie first started building drift boats, they were wood, and they gradually moved on, evolved into aluminum. But there was always the question mark on which oar was the best. And that's what Ralph was looking to make. And the best oar at the time was, and then nothing against what Sawyer's doing today, was the old timers used the old smoker oar. And the smoker oar was real popular because it had so much flex in it. Well, that's where Ralph and Willie went together to see what they could do, because smokers weren't easy to get. Plus, their weight was always so different. One would weigh 6 pounds, one would weigh 8 pounds. So you'd have to weigh them out to make sure you got the right ones. Well, that's when Willie brought up, but hey, let's make the lightest oar possible. So that's when the lights came in. And then there was the 9'3". That was to meet between the 9 and the 9.5 foot oar. So yeah, the wood oar brought Willie Boats so far along, and Sawyer's as well, with Ralph and Willie with their relationship. And it was just good to see it evolve as it went in. I've been the main owner of Willie's for almost 14 years, and I am so glad to be able to walk in the footsteps behind Willie and Ralph, and then of course there was others involved as well. But to see how it evolved and worked, it was just fun to be a part of that history, and I'm glad I was there at the time, because especially with the drift boat. The drift boat was so harsh when it first started, and it's head and shoulders now. I mean, the accessories we have are crazy. But the raft frame business, we were in it. Willie started the Aluminum World in 1971, and he took on a financial investor in 1970, I think 3 or 4, individual from Texas. Well, partnerships usually don't work so well. In 1977, Willie sold out, and he had to sign a no-compete clause for 4 years. So it was from 1977 to 1981, he needed to find something to do because he couldn't build drift boats anymore. Well, that's when he got the raft frame and the dry box business, camp kitchens, and anything that went along with, being on the river, overnighters, day trips, and what have you. So after 1981, he could build drift boats again, but that took a while to get that started. And I started with him in 1984. Well, he was still doing raft frames, boxes, camp kitchens, and so on and so forth. He was multitasking, doing both drift boats and frames. So we moved to our new location, or a location where we are today, present day, in
Oh, I think you froze up a little bit there. We'll work with the Willie guys to kind of get them brought back, but
go ahead.
Oh, there you go. So you were just finishing up there, Jim. Go ahead.
Okay, and so then we it's been about the last we were on a 5-year plan with this 3-year project we've been on with the frames and boxes and what have you. But there was a drive that, are you guys ever going to get back into it? And this is the perfect reason, Zach, why you don't get rid of your bell bottoms, because someday you may wear them again. And sure enough, here we are back in the raft, the frames, and the dry box, the camp kitchens as well. And that's Mike Snow's heading this whole project up for it and doing a fantastic job. As year 3 is kind of coming to an end, we're really seeing leaps and bounds in the interest in it. So
Right.
yeah, so that is Mike's forte there, for the simple fact I'm not here as much as I used to be. Mike's here on the day-to-day basis. He can answer all the questions, the frame questions, box questions, dimensions, what we can do, when we can do it, and how we can do it.
Absolutely. And that really ties right into kind of what we've seen in the COVID era, is that, you know, people are really kind of engaging in the outdoors, whether that was their main plan or not, just through necessity, where they're starting to get out and, like, you know, oh, I drive to work and I drive by this river all the time and I can't do any of these events that have been canceled. I see these people floating, so I'm going to give it a try. And that's kind of been just what has really exploded in the paddle sports industry. And we're seeing it. I'm sure you guys are seeing it as well, where people, just the demand is so high, where as long as you can get it for them in a timely manner, it's definitely seems to be where we're having more people getting introduced to just river sports in general.
Absolutely.
And have you, so Mike, I would imagine, you know, you and I haven't really talked a little bit about, but I imagine your demand has just kind of gone up from your whitewater suppliers, that, you know, a lot of folks that are typically slowing things down, but now they just can't seem to get it fast enough.
Yeah, the demand has really jumped. Started out this year, and we were pretty well prepared. We had quite a bit of inventory because we assumed it was going to be a standard year. And then when COVID hit, we thought, well, things are a little slow right at the moment. The dealers haven't contacted us, but we're still in good shape because we still have a tremendous inventory. Then all of a sudden, boom, everybody called at one time. Hey, where's this product? Can I get it today? Can I get it tomorrow? How soon can I get 15 more? And we blasted through inventory, and we've just been, you know, working like mad to try and catch up, stay up, and keep everybody supplied with product. It's just how it's been this year. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's been kind of industry wide, I believe. And so, and we do, you know, you guys do have a wide variety of drift boats as well, and so we want to dive a little deep into the raft frame stuff. But before that, we don't want to kind of just leave drift boats off the table, seeing as it is still a big part of your guys' operation. And so we talked a little bit about this specialty boat that you guys are making that is wheelchair accessible, and maybe Jim, you could give us a little bit of lead into that, and then Shiska can bring up the video.
Well, how it all started was Todd Logan. He's a professional guide on the river, and he's lost one of his legs up to his knee, and he got this thought of how important it'd be to be able to get handicapped people out on the river, out in the elements, and be able to enjoy it instead of being stuck in a chair and staring out the window day in, day out. So with his help and what we could do for him and the way the wheelchair boat came around, it was one of those things where the more and more we kind of got involved with the project, the more excited you could be about it, because once you saw how the individuals were that were handicapped that could be a part of Mother Nature and outdoors, it was just a fantastic thing to be a part of. And it was good to have Todd Logan with us because he is part of the handicap world. And so, but to pull this project off, it was very gratifying. I was glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think that Todd has made it really accessible to a lot of disabled vets that have been able to get out into the outdoors. And we work with a few different folks that are doing projects for like the Wounded Warriors and stuff like that, where getting them into the outdoors is very key. And so I think that's definitely a very big element to the boat and kind of what it provides. Let's show the video clip a little bit so people can kind of understand just kind of how the boat works.
It was the first time that I wasn't thinking about making money that it was how many lives I could
Got
impact
access
with
from the
owning a
back.
boat like that, because I know how much it would have meant to me to not have to transfer out of my chair at the boat ramp and just get into the boat just like everybody else. One thing led to another, and it all got done better than I would have ever dreamed. When you're in a wheelchair, it's hard to get any lift out of a fishing pole, and so we raised the floor up to a level that it's no longer an issue. You can swing the rod left or right, whichever side you're fishing from. The other thing that we added to it was an added ramp for the power chairs. So it doesn't matter what wheelchair you have, whether it be manual or power, you can still run right into the bow of the boat. I wanted to be able to row it from my wheelchair due to my left leg being what it is. And so they've adapted a track system and then made me a custom strap so I can row from my wheelchair. And so really there's nothing that stops me from being able to guide on any given day. I'm held to my own standard on the river, which is a very high standard in safety and with the stewardship of the river. I know what the river offers me and how happy it makes me, so to be able to give that gift to somebody else, it's really one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
So I was at a veteran outreach meeting. Todd was there. He talked to me after the meeting and asked me if I'd be interested in going with him.
The most rewarding part about getting Jed on the water was because it was a way I could give back to him for his sacrifice.
I was in Afghanistan, got my rifle all set up, and that's when I hit the pressure plate. My buddies rushed over, started putting tourniquets on, and that's when I knew I'd lost at least one of my legs, and my right leg was still intact, but it was too mangled up to keep.
Jed's a remarkable young man. His attitude on this life, it's pretty quick to remind you that you have all good days.
I got to do a lot more than I ever would have. I honestly see it more of a blessing than anything.
Taking Jed fishing for the first time was really one of the best days of my life.
I didn't really know what to expect. It's kind of like bracing for it, but man, it's so smooth going down these things.
And you could just see his whole body decompress and relax and start enjoying everything that we get to enjoy every day.
Try to do a lot of outdoor things now. It's a really big healing thing for me and a lot of other people too. Being out in nature, trying to catch some fish, just had a good time.
We have a saying, we're all in the same boat, literally and figuratively. It doesn't matter whether you want to go fishing, want to go bird watching, you just want to see the river for the first time. That's the beauty of it, is at the end of the day, we're all just on the river.
Nice. So that boat obviously has a lot of customization to it. And did you guys just work kind of designing it exactly for Todd, or what? How did that all work? Or did you have kind of the idea already, or was that the first boat that you've made that way?
We had a wheelchair access boat we built back in the mid '90s, and the access was from the side.
I got you.
And there's but we thought, if you could actually roll it up and into the boat, which was basically with a lot of help from Todd and Jed. So I would say the answer to your question is their input was very valuable to us, because if you're not in their world, you don't understand, what it takes to get them in the boat and to help them enjoy what's out there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that the whole drop down tailgate idea is just a mind blower to me, because basically you drop your boat in, spin it around 180, and then slide it back up to the ramp, drop the back end down, and you could the transom is a perfect ramp. So that's just, the fact that it's all streamlined open, everybody can just load in just like your front people first, and then person in the rowing seat, and then close it up. And so that definitely seems like a pretty slick little plan.
Well,
have you made?
Not to interrupt, but since here recently, we've been able to add to that rear door where it folds down, and plus it swings out, so you can have a motor on it. And so yeah, well, there's
Gotcha.
been some advancements made to it, but overall it is what it is, and it's definitely made a big difference. And we've sold quite a few of those boats just because of the capabilities it does provide.
Right, absolutely. I mean, we were there's folks that actually, you know, lose usage of their legs, and they're big whitewater guys. And there's actually a company, Creaturecraft, that has actually made it so they could actually row, and they actually harness themselves into the boat, and they're looking at, you know, running real big whitewater. And so, but also the same thing where if that gives that access to an angler that has that rowing ability still, you know, so they can get out on the river. It's just that total freedom is huge, I would imagine. And are you selling, so is it mostly to guides that are in wheelchairs, or be more folks that are like recreational boaters that are going out on their own?
We have sold one to it's been a good long-standing customer with us that's in a wheelchair, but I would say
Gotcha.
the majority have been to guides, the kind of the professional athlete, to get those individuals out there that know the ins and outs of what needs to be done and how the safety that's so important. So I would say,
Right.
yeah, the general purchase has been from guides.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, and I think it's sounds like it's a boat that is ever evolving. So you know, that's kind of how the cocktail napkin ideas turn into something that's actually a modification. So
Absolutely.
So there's
sure.
got to be a story behind the cocktail napkin. What do you know about that, Zach?
Well, you know, and that's where most of your ideas start. You know, I mean, I would have to say that we've made a few items that came off the cocktail napkin. So
Well, we built
it's just
a 20-foot drift boat off a cocktail napkin, and I don't even know how Willie could get the schematics to a 20-foot drift boat on a cocktail napkin, but we did get it built.
yeah. You know, and kind of between Ralph and where we're at now, you know, you worked with Bruce Bergstrom a lot, and you know, Bruce was all about, you know, just little drawings here and there. You know, and it wasn't uncommon that Bruce would give the guys in the production like just a scribbled up piece of paper, and it'd be like, this is what I need. And the guys right away got really good at kind of, you know, just figuring out exactly what that all that little scratch on the paper was. And so, you know, it's key. It's definitely
That's the sign of a smart owner, is to get the heck out of the way after you give them a crumpled up piece of paper and let them do it.
exactly. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here and shift into the rafting gear and the frames and dry boxes. I know when we first started talking about how you guys were going to get back on and kick the raft stuff back into gear, first thing I remembered is like, oh yeah, I remember seeing those old Willie Frames, because they were just like, you know, and I think I joked to you is that there were literally boats in the valley that all of the fabric had just draped off of the boat and completely deteriorated, and the Willie Frame was just sitting there still holding up the D-rings, you know. And there's definitely some out there, I would imagine, that are still kicking from that time. So it's definitely been a real benefit to us as a partner in that element. You know, mostly we provide oars to you, but it is nice to be able to get some products from you for our store and outfit as well. So let's talk a little bit about just kind of the process for the materials that you're using on dry boxes and stuff. I know you kind of had to kind of shift gears a little bit and dedicate some space, but also you guys use a lot of the same materials that you're making the boats about, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
So yeah, so basically, as far as the dry boxes, you've got a full line of every size of dry box, most common sizes to the whitewater guys, and then you brought back some of the kitchen box stuff. Have those changed a bit, or was that kind of off the original platform?
I think the design of the kitchen box was off of the original design that Willie did. The one thing Willie had was probably 2 sizes in that particular box. And
Oh, looks like we might have froze up a little bit there, but we will. Let's just going to launch into the one of the main frames that we're going to talk about is the rat tail, the river rat system, and just go pull that up, and we can view this. We're going to flip into the rat tail river rat system.
The Ultimate River Rat system is an all-welded modular raft frame that allows raft owners to construct the ideal raft frame for their needs. Willie Boats is known for quality and innovation, so you know that whatever you buy, it's going to be designed and built to our high standards. The system is made up of the rat nest, which features 3-position adjustable oarlocks for the oarsmen, the rat trap, which is ideal for coolers or dry boxes, and the rat tail, which is a pinch bar to customize any space. UHMW couplers connect any of the system components in seconds, which makes transforming your raft fast and easy. Each component is available in a powder coat finish or with an underside treatment of shark hide. Either way, your raft is going to be protected from the dark streaking that untreated aluminum leaves on rafts. The Unirail allows users to add cup holders or any number of accessories to make your raft even more comfortable. Strapping slots are numerous and keep each component from moving. When you strap it down, it stays. The strapping slots also provide you with points to attach dry bags or spare oars. The Ultimate River Rat system offers raft owners a modular raft frame solution that is built to last, looks amazing, and has earned the title of simply the best.
So this frame came about, it was a concept that you were working with. Was it an in-law or a friend of a friend that kind of helped with this concept, Jim?
Well, actually, it was, excuse me, Zach, it was my daughter's boyfriend, and he's quite the river runner. He's a river rat. And he had an idea, and it was one of those that he'd taken it to a certain spot, and then we were able to take it farther. But I really like what it can do. It's a day frame. It's a multi-day frame. You can row just with the, okay, help me, Mike, where we row from this rat nest?
It's a rat nest, but
Yeah.
it's just like a stern frame.
Right. And so you can be back there. You have people up front with paddling, or you can add the sections to it and turn it into anywhere from a 2 to a 5 to a 6, 7 day frame. So its options are just endless. And that's the neat thing about it with what it's created. But as we're talking about this and we're sharing the relationship between the companies, our biggest area to be able to give a thank you, a shout out, a yay for the day is to Sawyer and to you, Zach, for being able to open up so many venues and avenues for us to really simplify our approach and to shorten up the time frame of allowing us to get to where we are already in a 3-year span. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Well, I mean, as you've told me multiple times that this is a partnership, and without oars, it's kind of hard to make the boats go down the creek. So, we definitely value that partnership, and it's great that I mean, we're literally, our businesses are roughly 10 miles apart, and we have completely different clientele base, and then there's a full overlap as well. And so it's definitely one of those things that there are plenty of river users in this area that definitely need and want a lot of our products from both of us, for sure. So I think it's a mutual.
So Zach, let me ask you a question. How are you guys doing since this COVID has hit?
So the biggest thing with us is that the whole season kind of went on pause there for a couple months, and just like Mike was talking about, as soon as certain states started relaxing their closures and opening up, it just all of a sudden just blew up. And it was like literally somebody flipped the switch and said, okay, it's time to get out into the outdoors and start exploring things. And we definitely had quite a bit of product that was just piled up. There was the whole shipping bay was completely full at one point, just waiting for orders that had been built, completely finished, but then halted right at the finish line. And I can say that I would say 97% of those have eventually left and found their homes. And there was a handful of stuff there. I mean, we definitely had folks that closed down their operation, definitely in the kind of the rental outfit, where some folks where it's a concessionaire where they have to up all these permits, and it was kind of they got to that go no go point, and they were just kind of like, yeah, I don't see it changing. So they decided not to do it. And in turn, some of those were, we had some huge rental outfits that were going to outfit a bunch of, rental type boats, and they just completely canceled their season. And that was probably the biggest one. And then our outfitters too. I mean, you guys deal with a lot of fishing guides, and we deal with a lot of fishing guides, but also a lot of outfitters. And we know that our outfitter buddies are definitely having a hard time, struggling, trying to get as much of a season kind of recouped as they can, because they kind of lost that bit of the beginning. And so that's been the biggest challenge. And now it's actually the just trying to keep up with the demand, because people don't realize that even though it's available, we're making it every day. So that means it is available, but sometimes it's going to be available in a week or two to just get it through the system, because, same thing. We've run through all of our inventory is completely sold out of all of our key items. And so we're just building stuff as fast as we can. I think I remarked to Mike last week is that our guys have been working every weekend for the last 8 weeks, just because they just can't keep up. And so that just kind of, that wears on the crew, and so we're just, everybody's kind of trying to get as much out the door as you can and try to get folks out there on the water, and, trying to keep up with it, because nobody knows what 2021 is going to be. But yeah, we're just kind of reminding ourselves that it's time to switch gears, because 2021 kind of releases in September. So, we're basically trying to plan for that next year already. And it's been definitely a little bit of a challenge, but I think we're getting by there. And, probably some of the things you've noticed is that it's kind of hard to get some of the rubber these days. A lot of that stuff is sold out. Definitely, if it's not made in the U.S., it's not available.
Absolutely.
And so, and like one of the things you may notice is like, that's how people didn't always buy with made in the USA as their number one thing. They felt good about it when they bought made in the USA, but now made in the USA equates to available in the USA. And so definitely the fact that we can build most everything right here in Talon, Oregon is very key. And having that ability to build everything, I'm sure it's one of those things that you're seeing as well. I mean, most dry boxes are not made overseas. So, you're pretty much a lot of those folks you're competing with, but you have a better organized shop and a full team, versus what I told you in the beginning is that, some of these guys are just, it's one or two guys, and they just can't adapt to trying to put out more product,
Mm-hmm.
But you guys probably have seen kind of the same thing in the raft side of things, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have a little issue trying to get rubber when we first got going this year, some delays. Then they all came in, and then they all started going away. And just, trying to get replacements for people, it takes a little bit longer today than it used to.
Right.
It's kind of fun, though. I like the challenge. I like, watching the smiles on their face when they come in and they get the whole package and walk out. That's great.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I'm sure you guys have had to deal with this a little bit, because we all sell things. We all have online stores as well, and you kind of have to sell in every channel. And we constantly are having to educate people that we're not Amazon, and if they're expecting something that they ordered right away and expecting it to ship that next day, they probably haven't ordered anything on Amazon lately either, because Amazon, you can order it and it's like, there's stuff that'll take 2 months, 3 months on Amazon. So, we basically let people know that, yes, your order is in the system and it's being built at this time. And so really just kind of conveying to people, they have to have a little bit more patience. And if they didn't plan ahead, that last minute stuff is kind of like, just trying to audible into some other options, because that specific custom piece may not be something that they're going to get it in a timely manner. And I think we've all kind of put kind of our COVID disclaimers up, is really just kind of like, it's a real thing. It's like, just because of the demand, we can't answer the phone every single phone call, and we can't get every order out, with in a minimum of 4 or 5 days. Sometimes an order comes in and it just that process of getting it done takes 5 to 10 days if it's a simple product. And
Right.
so, that's been the biggest part, is educating folks to what the situation is. And we've seen more folks, if they need it right away, they're gonna walk they're drive in and walk into the store, and then it's when everything's there, it's a little easier. But that online customer is definitely, haven't really figured out exactly the best way that we can get them to understand how the demand is. But it's across the board. I'm sure
Right.
you've had the same thing where we've had people hang up on us and tell us that they're going to cancel their order, and then call back, an hour later and saying, yeah, well, I called all around and nobody has what I need. So can I get my spot back in line again?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So little bit of patience, a little bit of understanding definitely goes a long way. But also we've been really promoting, shop local and support local. And that goes a long way with a lot of, just in the COVID era, is people are exploring local. Like literally people in our valley. I don't know if you've noticed, I know, Jim, you were saying that you take the guys out, like a boat a week and get out on the river. And one of the things I've noticed is, like, some of the more easy access spots are way more populated, where there's just a lot more people on the water. And I've had to work a little extra hard trying to find spots where there's fewer people, and it's, I think we're seeing that around the lakes and rivers, because our boat ramps are still open. And so, folks are wanting to get out there.
Well, it also shows, Zach, that these individuals that may have gone to Hawaii or Disneyland or what have you are not making those trips, so they still want to get out and recreate somewhere, somehow, some way. And that's definitely put more of a demand on the possibilities that are out there. I've definitely noticed a lot more people using the resources this summer than they have in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you guys seeing an influx of first-time hardboat owners, like drift boat sales, or is it more in the whitewater stuff, or is it equally across the board?
I would say more whitewater, since we're still kind of fresh and new to it. The drift boats, we've sold them for so many years. We know that in the summer months they don't sell as well as they do excuse me, in the fall after hunting season. It all fluctuates where the rivers are going to be, where the fish runs are going to be. So I would say the most of the excitement's been wrapped around the rafts and the frames and the boxes as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of customers come in wanting rafts, frames, get all set up because they're ready to get their family on the water for the first time, and they've got young kids. So they're trying to determine how big of a raft they want to get out there on the water with. And I've had some, like a gal called me today, and she thinks she wants a 16-foot raft. And I'm thinking, well, when you come in tomorrow and you come in our shop and I show you these 14s, you're going to go, wow, I don't think I need a 16. A 14 is pretty big, you know. I mean, they've got little kids.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just getting them acquainted with what the features of the rafts, different sizes are, and determining what they really need. But there are a lot of first-time water, I don't know what you want to call them, first-time people on the water, you know.
Yeah,
trying to
river
determine what they look
users.
for. River users, there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Multiple different crafts for river users.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just like where you know, they're sharing that river with the powerboat guy and the drift boat guy and the raft setup, and then you've got some inflatable kayaks and some inflatable supboards, and that's the stuff that we have seen just absolutely blow up, where just all of the more price point inflatable crafts have really moved real quick, and a lot of those are made overseas. So
Right.
now it's like you don't have that price point model anymore. So now it's just like the next level up, and don't sell as many of them, but we've stayed pretty close contact with our manufacturers and just kind of knowing what's coming out, and we'll bring in one or two of what the things that they have coming off of their production line first, because we know that anything that's not being made in the USA is basically coming on a container in the end of September. So
Exactly.
so it definitely helps to just you know, bring in a few of those items. They may be way more expensive, but you know, folks understand that they're getting really quality stuff, and when they're paying that extra money, you know, they're getting a 10-year warranty on an inflatable craft. Is like, okay, yeah, this is an investment for the family. And definitely if they have those little kids, it's, you know, once
Right.
they get past that point of, you know, this is going to be with us when that kid there is out of high school, we'll still have this boat. So definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, excellent, guys. Thank you very much for coming up. We are going to throw up your contact info, and you guys do have online stores, so folks can inquire online for rafting stuff and for drift boats as well. And just to remind folks, you guys are located right there in outside of Medford, between Medford and White City, off of Highway 62, and you do have showroom access. And then, of course, anybody can get a hold of you by email or phone and make an appointment to come in, check out a drift boat, check out a raft, and check out Willie Boats. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on the river. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And hopefully you have a good day out there. Remember, be patient, be kind, shop local, and support your local outfits and your local businesses. And get out in the outdoors. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.